to allow church
All right, we have been
services.
listening to President Trump, former President Trump, speaking from his golf club in Bedminster, New Jersey. He has announced he is leading a class action lawsuit against big tech. In the suit he has filed, he names Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey, Google CEO Sundar Pichai, and also Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg by name. The president saying he's suing them essentially for banning him in the aftermath of the Capitol invasion on January 6th. He says their moves were, quote, un-American, unlawful, and unconstitutional. So far, Twitter has permanently banned the president, no matter what, even if he runs again. They said he's not coming back to the platform. Facebook has taken a slightly different, modified approach. He is banned now through 2023, but they may reconsider that decision if they say his account no longer constitutes a threat to public safety. I want to bring in Emily Compagno. She is an attorney, also co-host of Outnumbered. She has kindly been standing by, listening to this, to these remarks, so that she can break it all down for us. Emily, what's your number one takeaway here so far?
My number one takeaway is that this class action is based on the premise that these digital platforms are sort of quasi-government institutions, that instead of being wholly private, that they've been granted special favors by the government and therefore do not have that right to exclude that a lot of private companies do. Now, I'm basing this on Justice Thomas's dissent in the Biden versus Knights of Columbia case that came out of the Supreme Court earlier this year in April, upon which it's my understanding that this complaint is largely based on. It's that premise that was really developed there and articulated by Justice Thomas that here this team has pounced on to file their lawsuit with. But I want to point out as well for viewers that they understand that a certification of a class action occurs by a judge, meaning you can file a lawsuit as a class action, but it's technically not certified as such until a judge does it. So the first step, obviously, that this lawsuit has been filed. We are all looking forward to reading it and dissecting it further, and upon which, once it's taken into consideration, the judge will in fact determine whether it does meet the standards for a class action, in which case he or she will certify it or decline to certify it, in which case then it would just be back to that sole plaintiff.
So one of the things that he said just now, Emily, was he leveled this claim that during the pandemic specifically, big tech and the social media companies became a de facto fourth arm of government. He says they did this. He accuses them of censoring true, real information about the spread of the coronavirus, and he says that they also promoted falsehoods from other government officials. How does that stack up to what the case you've heard from him in the past?
Right. It seems to me that that's going to be part of their argument, right? That not only was this a disparate application in terms of censorship, but frankly that they were censoring actual true facts and they were allowing to be amplified. This is, again, their allegations here, allowing to be amplified falsehoods. So they're not really applying their own set of standards correctly, fairly to their users, as well as acting as an arm of government. He said that they had been deputized, essentially, so acting as that arm. And I go back again to the Justice Thomas concurrence upon which this is based, where he articulates the fact that when the government has given special favors to quasi-government entities, he calls them, like common carriers, for example, he says that that's when they come out of that private entity space. They again become that quasi-government entity, and that's what the former president here is arguing. He's saying, look, they were acting as an arm of the government and therefore not allowed to exclude, therefore not allowed to censor, and that's where that First Amendment argument comes into play. Justice Thomas also, by the way, noted that governments, the limited private companies' right to exclude is even more stark the larger the market share that private entity has. And so I look forward to as well seeing fleshed out the fact, this argument that, you know, for example, when you type something into a search engine, Google is that gate between your search and 90% of the information out there. So here we're going to hear from the president where, although these companies argue, oh, we're not a dominant force, or we're not the only force in the market, there's other avenues out there, the argument will be that the lion's share they hold is in part what bolsters the argument that they in fact are acting as this quasi-government entity here.
Interesting. All right, Emily, thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Always love talking to you, and we'll see you in just a few minutes for Outnumbered at noon.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.